I have to talk about the Mario Galaxy movie because it's absolutely insane. So, we all know the first trailer just dropped for it. Well, I guess technically the second trailer, but I think they call it the first trailer. Anyways, it's the first blown trailer where they show off Bowser Jr., Rosalina, some new story elements of the movies, and I just want to talk about it. Now, this isn't new. I'm a little bit late to this, I know, but better late than never, am I right? So let's get into it. Let's start talking about it. The movie trailer starts with Bowser in a big cage thing. He's in the cage that now looks like Bowser's castle. It's very fun. It's very quirky. And I have to say, in this very first scene, I'm instantly drawn to it. Like it's definitely so much better in my eyes than the first movie was. I feel like there's a lot more character than there is from the first one. Like there's a lot more character development that obviously has happened. You got Bowser going up to Mario and Luigi, and it seems like Bowser and Luigi have this kind of like friendly dynamic going on, and Mario just hates Bowser and Bowser hates Mario. Like I think it's actually very quirky and funny. That's like the best thing I've noticed about it so far, and I actually think it's funny. Now I know these games are primarily focused on the younger audience, but already I think the comedy in this first section is much better than any of the comedy I saw from the first movie throughout the entire movie. Like there was a lot more character in each of the characters. There was a few more jokes. I think their personalities are a lot more locked in. Like it seems that they've actually built on the first movie instead of making a full new corporate feeling movie altogether. Like no one can convince me that the first Mario movie wasn't like pretty safe. Like it was just very safe. And yes, this is Illumination, and yes, this is Nintendo, which are generally safe companies, but the first movie was just it wasn't really going above and beyond. It was just kind of setting the scene, I feel like. And that's kind of what happened with the Sonic movie as well. The Sonic movie, absolutely, the first one set the scene for the second and third movies to do much better. There's, of course, that random corporate garbage in these movies, like in Sonic 2 when they had the breakdancing scene or the wedding crashing scene. Like those were just so bad. But in the third Sonic movie, that was a really good one. Like they went full blown for the fans. Now, yes, it was still corporate to some degree, but they went for the fans. And I really feel like the Mario movie, like the Mario Galaxy movie, will have the potential to kind of break out from that corporate shell that was the first game. I think it's going to be a lot more creative than the first movie just based on what we've seen so far. And so that being said, let's just keep going on what we've seen so far. I find it very interesting that Bowser's got these paint brushes. He's been painting a lot. Obviously, painting is a big Bowser Jr. thing. So I don't know how this works. I also don't understand how Bowser has a son and they didn't bring it up in the first movie. Maybe he paints his son? He does, because obviously Bowser Jr. doesn't have like a mommy in the traditional sense, like how you and I have mommies. So I'm thinking maybe Bowser has this spell and maybe he paints Bowser Jr. and Bowser Jr. is Bowser's son that way. I don't really know how this is going to work. I'm not going to try to guess, but regardless, Bowser Jr. here, and Bowser likes to paint. And we also see some other things like Peach and Toad blasting off into space, going into this little water world, gusty garden galaxies in the background. We get a really cool setting with Mario and Luigi in the Desert Kingdom. I think that's what it's called from Odyssey, with all of the upside down pyramids, which again is just really sweet that they're pulling from Odyssey. And I'll get back to how they're pulling from all these different game franchises. You get Peach fighting all these ninjas and all that stuff. They're pulling from these games. I think the settings are going to be really cool. I also really like how Mario and Luigi seem to be together this whole time. I think one of the biggest flaws of the first movie is the fact that the Mario brothers really aren't together for a lot of it. They're kind of just split up doing their own little side adventure, and they're not together for most of it, which was kind of dumb. I don't really know why they split them up for so long. I think they wanted to just, again, build characters, set the scene, individually show off these characters. I mean, Luigi was barely in the first movie. But I think what the best part is, and kind of like I briefly mentioned already, they are pulling from many games here. We got Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush from Super Mario Sunshine. We obviously have Super Mario Galaxy with all the star bits, and of course Rosalina. I didn't even mention Rosalina yet. We got Mario Odyssey with the Desert Temple. And then of course the big one, which really surprised me, was Mario Wonder. I mean, they've got Mario Wonder reference in this trailer as well. And that is through Bowser Jr. You see that Bowser Jr. has this mask with like the glitchy mouth, That's Bowser Jr.'s Wonder Form transformation, which is really cool. I love that they added that here. And it really just makes me wonder, okay, how are they going to include the Wonder Flowers? Like what do the Wonder Flowers have to do with anything? I definitely did not think Wonder Flowers would be in this movie really at all. I thought for sure most of this was just going to be based off of Mario Galaxy and a lot of the Mario Galaxy references. And there is a lot of Mario Galaxy references as well. We got the big Mega Leg character at the end of the trailer. We got obviously Rosalina and the Lumas. We have the big Starbit Festival that we see in the scene. And I really think if they just pulled from Galaxy here, it would have been a crazy movie in and of itself. I love Galaxy. It's probably the most emotional, not that I'm really emotional, but probably the game that has stuck in my brain the most and the most nostalgic for sure. Like they could do a lot with just the Mario Galaxy movie concept, but then you pull in from all these other franchises, it's gonna be absolutely insane. And this is just the first trailer. We also saw 2 other clips with Bowser Jr. talking and Rosalina talking, which I'll talk about in a second. But I'm really liking up how this movie's shaping up to be. I think the first one really set the stage, and the second one's just gonna build on that. And I also gotta say, graphically, goodness gracious, this looks fantastic. Like both of the Mario movies, well, the first Mario movie and this one look really good. Illumination, I think, is the best animation studio for this. Like they definitely have the style that can pull off the Mario movie. Again, I don't love how they frame some of these things. Like, oh my goodness, Take On Me in the first movie was awful. I hated that so much. They needed to do it so that they could have Take On Me in the original soundtrack, and they did it for the older people in the audience, but it was so forced. And I know that they're gonna do something like this here. Like I had a discussion with a friend the other day about this, and he said, I guarantee they're gonna play Rocket Man when Mario first goes into space. And he gave me another funny example, but I don't actually remember what it was. Oh, I remember. Bad to the Bone when Bowser Jr. shows up. So if that shows up, I mean, we didn't make it bad, but maybe we should have, because that just sounds so Illumination to do. Regardless, there's going to be an 80s song in here that doesn't fit in here at all. But anyways, I digress. We still have to see more about the movie. I think they really just showed us a little bit about this, and the second trailer is really going to go off. But I have high hopes for this. Now, let's talk about Bowser Jr. and Rosalina, because they are probably the most interesting things about this. They're obviously the 2 newest additions of the main cast. Oh, and speaking of main cast, no Donkey Kong or Yoshi. We haven't seen any of those 2. We already know Yoshi's going to be a major part in this movie with, there's a leak about Mario cookies with Pillsbury, those those best Christmas cookies ever. There's like Yoshi egg cookies that released, where they got leaked, and yeah, they're releasing those. And they showed off art, and it spewed all over the internet. And we already know how Yoshi looks because of this. And then there was also this Old Spice leak, which also showed Yoshi. So we know that Yoshi's going to be a major part in this movie. So I'm surprised we actually didn't see Yoshi at all. I also wonder in my brain if he's going to have a voice or if he's just going to say Yoshi. Like, I really hope he doesn't have a voice. He's technically had a voice in some games, but my hope is that he's just this kind of like a pet character, kind of talking around and just kind of appearing and saying, Yoshi, Yoshi. He's just the cute little character, kind of like how in The Grinch, the dog, the dog in The Grinch, he's just like the dog. Although Yoshi would have a much bigger role. So I don't really know how this would work, but I really hope he doesn't have a voice actor. And then Donkey Kong, what is that supposed to be? I want to do a whole video about predicting the next set of Mario movies. And I think Donkey Kong might play a little bit of a role in here, but I think he's mostly not going to be here because he's going to have his own little spin-off movie. So that's something I wanted to bring up. I feel like they wouldn't not want to put him in here because the Donkey Kong franchise is such a massive franchise, and they're really putting everything into Donkey Kong. So it's kind of weird that they wouldn't just make Donkey Kong in this movie, even if they just force him in. I think it's more the case that they just don't want to show him yet. But I would find it really odd if Donkey Kong's not in this movie, especially with, the big theme parks and Donkey Kong Bonanza. It really feels like a wasted opportunity for them to market Donkey Kong as a bigger franchise if he's not in here. But anyways, I think he's going to show up at least a little bit. But let's talk about the 2 big ones, the 2 new ones. Rosalina. Rosalina is now being played by Brie Larson, which is the pretty iconic Captain Marvel. I think that's probably her biggest role. She's also been in a couple of Nintendo commercials over the years, saying how much she loves the Nintendo Switch. And you know what? I actually think that this is a good voice actor. I agree with this. It's a good one. Very good choice. And in the little clip that they showed off where she talks to the Lumas, very fitting. I think it's really good. No complaints there. But then we have Benny Safdie, or whatever, however you pronounce it. I actually didn't know who this was. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know previous voice acting work from this fella. I recognize his face, but I didn't recognize any of his previous work. From what I know, he's primarily a writer. He's directed a few movies, I think. He's acted in quite a few. So he's definitely got the credentials to play this. It's a very, again, it's a very corporate pick, but I don't think it's a bad pick necessarily. At first, I was really unsure about how I feel about his voice playing Bowser Jr. because whenever we hear Bowser Jr. in games, he has a very high pitch, a very kid vibe. I'm almost thinking like Bowser Jr. maybe should have been played as a kid. Maybe, like kind of sounding like Bart Simpson in a way. Maybe played by a lady who does cartoon voice acting. But you know what? The more I listen to it, it's actually not as bad as I initially expected. I think it's going to be pretty good. It's grown on me for sure. I can't say that I'm 100% in love with it, but it's growing on me the more I've listened to it. Sounds a little bit more manly than I would expect Bowser Jr. to sound, but that's okay. And then as for the rest of the voice cast, they're all the same people. Jack Black as Bowser, I think that's actually a really good choice. Charlie Day as Luigi, that's epic. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, she did a good job last time. Chris Pratt, honestly, is probably the biggest one I'm not in love with. Once again, I know I keep saying things are corporate because, it is, but this one definitely is the most corporate decision I've ever seen. Mario being played as Chris Pratt, there's really just no reason why he fits that. I think it would have probably been a little bit better if Mario had a little bit of a higher tone, but I can look past it. Mario is meant to represent a basic guy so that when you play the games, you can feel like Mario. So that's exactly what I think they were going for with Chris Pratt. It's a fine decision. I can't complain on it or harp on it too much because what can I do now? It's already too late. But yeah, that was my opinion on the Mario Galaxy movie trailer. I thought it's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely more excited about this one than the first Mario movie, which is kind of odd. But I think that this one has a lot more potential than the first one did. I really wasn't sure where they were going to take the first one. And yeah, the first one's just really safe. It's just a really safe movie. There really wasn't much to it. It had a lot of really cool callbacks to games and stuff, but the story overall was pretty basic throughout. There was no major lows or highs. It was just kind of consistent all the way through. Whereas like the Sonic movies, I feel like they have really high highs and really low lows. So I'm expecting another safe movie, yes, but I think this is going to be a little bit more in-depth and interesting than the first one. I also really like Bowser Jr. as a character. I think he's going to be a really fun addition to it. And I'm excited to see the dynamics between Bowser Jr. and Bowser. I think that's going to be really fun. So anyways, let me know what you think about this Galaxy movie. And yeah, let's subscribe, do that YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.